Hi, good morning. It's Lisbeth Calandrino from Women of the Flooring Business. And this is our Workshop Wednesday. Oh, actually, it's Workshop Friday that we usually do on Wednesday. And I'm so excited. Today I have Mark Farnsworth, and here is his book over here, right? Your Complete Flooring Guide. Mark is a speaker, and he is also author of this book. And Mark's going to talk about the value of this book, how you can use it, and what it means. And I have gone through and I have checked a few things that I think are critical. So, Mark, just tell us, a little bit about who you are and what you've been up to.
All right, a little bit about my background. I have been a manufacturer's rep for many, many years. I took on the responsibility of being a vice president of a five-store chain. That's when I realized my salesmen had no proper training or a training program in place to really understand. And let's just start with the basics of the flooring business. That's why I wrote this book.
I mean, it's amazing when I hear, no matter how small the business is, that they don't have any kind of training program. And so you wrote this book to help retailers, not only retailers, but manufacturers, reps. Anybody could use this book, right?
That is correct. Because of the fact with my past history, I had worked for the major magazines and I got to travel to a lot of manufacturing facilities and actually understand a product a floor never fails. The product always fails. And if you use the wrong material in the wrong application, it's definitely going to fail every time.
All right. So let's talk about the book because you've got quite a few people who have purchased it in the Women of the Flooring. In fact, one woman said she calls it her Bible. I was talking to her this morning before you and I spoke. So I have been in the book and there's a few things I'd like to highlight. So one of the things that I think is like incredible is that you have, let's see, a measure checklist. Now, I have to get this right. Can't really see it, but a measure checklist. Now, I always hear from retailers that they need a checklist. So give me some idea about how you see that, Mark.
I think that was the number one reason that we were losing money at our establishment is the fact that a customer, or when you make a sale, you have to write down everything that happens in that showroom floor. You are setting it up for the measure man, actually. So what you're doing is in the showroom floor, when you ask the consumer who's taking up the carpet, you have a checklist. You simply put a check on there. When the measurement goes out, he understands that you picked golden metal, that you are taking up the carpet. That's what the measure checklist is for, is so that we don't miss anything that would cause us to lose money, whether it's a trim, take up, or moving some furniture.
Yeah, every time there's a screw up in this, not only does somebody lose money, the store, but it causes, as we say in Italian, agina for the installer, and the customer is not happy. I mean, the last person the customer sees is the installer, right? So that has to go smoothly. I think that's a terrific thing in your book, that there is a checklist for the salesperson in here. The other thing I was quite impressed with has to do with, you have an underlayment chart, which I think, I've done training for years too. Nobody really knows what goes under laminate. Should there be something under hardwood? How do you use cork? So let's talk about that. So that underlayment chart is very useful.
That's what's amazing to me. I even have manufacturer distributor reps come in and talk about their underlayment, but they truly do not understand what these ratings truly mean or what sound deadening that underlayment's actually going to produce for them. So knowing the rate, when you interview your customer and they tell you an upstairs apartment is a major concern, or noise is a major concern because of the clicking of a high heel, with the proper underlayment, you eliminate that negative that she has developed in her mind. And that's why it's so important to understand the different underlayments that the manufacturers make. Not only understand them, but understand what the true ratings are of those underlayments, what the IC truly means.
And in addition, I'm thinking, if we're looking at the economy right now, there's no question that things have slowed down. They're not building a lot of houses. The real estate, I teach realtors, and the real estate market is, oh my gosh, it went from here to way down. And so that means as a flooring retailer, I think you should be looking for some local commercial work, and things like thermal ratings are, we might not even pay attention to them, except if we were maybe doing, in addition to retail, how about some commercial work, right? You've got stuff on, impact isolation, sound transmission is critical. And so, I'm thinking the next time I do my realtor class, I'm going to have you, if I do a Zoom, I'm going to have you come in and talk about a few of these things, since you have them, because this might be something that they should have also. Now, the other thing that's in here, okay, well, let's just go back to basics. So you have, okay, everybody, I just want you to see the book again. I'm speaking with Mark Farnsworth. He is the author of your complete flooring guide. Now, you can go to his website, which is, of course, www.floorcoveringbasics.com, or you can call him at 330. He is in Ohio, so you know what time zone that is. 704-6497. You can go online and order the book. And one thing I'm amazed is that when they get the book, they also get some time with you, right?
That is correct.
You have a series of videos. Tell us about the videos.
Well, here's the way I look at it, Elizabeth. If you receive a book, if you don't have a personal trainer, it's hard to lose weight unless you have someone actually describe to you what they have in their hands.
Nicely put.
So what I did was I developed 14 8-minute introduction videos to each chapter. This is for the sales manager. The sales manager has to emphasize when we go to chapter 13 and we start talking about waterproof flooring, this is what I really want you to pay attention to in this manual. I see many retailers get very frustrated watching videos and not understanding truly what they're watching. By having a book in your hands, you can refer to what I'm actually saying in your manual, and it will give you more details of what I'm talking about, what you're looking for.
Okay, so I just put in the chat, now you know what I was doing. I just put in the chat for those of you that are here in our group, www.floorcoveringbasics.com, Mark Farnsworth, and his phone number, 330-704-6497. He is in Eastern time zone for those of you in California, so you know how to get a hold of him. The other thing is, you have, the other thing, now it just occurred to me, you have a piece in here, and I was sure I had marked it, but it's not coming up. How to lay out carpet. Now, what page is that on, Mark? The one where you have...
That is on page 21.
21, I think, right?
21,
that's what I thought. Let me go to page 21, because this is just like amazing stuff. There's 21. Okay, so here it is.
There it is.
I know how much work it was to do this. So Mark has here how to lay out carpet. Now, laying out carpet is way different than laying out boxes of tile or laminate. And the other thing I want to say, that I'm just so delighted that Mark did this, because this is so useful. If a salesperson asks an installer, how do I lay this out? The installer in 2 minutes says, la da 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 da, this is how you do it. And the salesperson doesn't know what they're talking about, right?
That is correct. The problem that I had at my personal stores where I didn't have a lot of people that actually on the showroom floor knew how to measure. And every time that they would take the customer's measures to one of my senior sales reps, the consumer lost confidence in the person that had greeted them at the door and no longer wanted to deal with them because they didn't feel they were qualified. So what I did was I made a cheat sheet chart for you. And in that cheat sheet chart, it will tell you exactly how many fills. So that way you can explain to a customer that since your room is more than 12 foot wide, it is going to require fills on the side. You can lay all that out for them. I have done conventions where I have physically taken that chart, and in 5 minutes, a retailer has realized by looking at that chart, a 13 by 16 is automatically a 12 by, let's say, 19 off the top of my head. They can then utilize that and say anything on the remnant wall, 12 by 19 or bigger, will fit your room. You're an expert as soon as that customer walked through that door. You gave them an exact quote of what they could start looking at, which makes you an expert.
You know, you said something that's very, very well known, is that when the consumer comes in and likes the salesperson and works with them, they automatically think they're the expert, but they do lose them.
Yes.
They lose them when the salesperson says, "Oh, I can't lay that out." You know, and let's hope the person doesn't say, "I don't know how to do it," but they may. So the fact that they can do that, and then you talk about breaking down the materials list. So there's a formula here so that they can do the layout for them. And then, which would go along as part of your checklist, they could do this on the materials list. And of course, it's, you know, nothing gets done until it is measured by the installer. Never. We don't use the customer's measurements. In fact, I was laughing the other day. I was looking around here. I was telling realtors that you shouldn't use a cloth tape because they stretch, you know. But we have people come in with those, and when I was in business, they bring a string that they measured with. So
yes.
This really gives the salesperson, right? This really gives them a certain amount of credibility, and also helps them internally, right? I mean, this makes you, it makes you feel better, and you know, you feel like the expert.
It gives you confidence.
Yes.
Because when you have confidence, you can sell anything as long as you have confidence that you are selling the right product and you're giving them the right advice, and you're able and you feel good that you can actually get them an estimate. Because truly, when a customer enters your store, they're entering for an estimate. Once you decide that estimate works for them, your goal is to get your measurement to that home and get that money collected. But that's not going to happen unless you appeal to them that you're an expert over the competition, that you can do something better than the competition provided.
Or you can do something better and something more. So, because we know that in the box stores, you know, most likely the person who is selling floor covering, he could have been in another department a week ago. I mean, it's a tough department to be in. So they don't have these tools, Mark. So this book.
And I really want to talk to you manufacturer reps and you distributor reps. They're dependent on you for knowledge. You need to stay up to date on your knowledge and understand the products that you're selling and how they're constructed and where they actually work and don't work.
Yeah, I'm thinking that customers are way smarter than ever, and they have a lot of the tools that we have. I mean, they can go online and they can certainly pick out their products. And, if you have an idea that you can help them, listen, consumers aren't stupid. They know that you're not going to use their measurements to come out and do anything. I mean, they have builders, they have somebody building their house, they have electrician. Right. The electrician doesn't say how much do you need, how many boxes. They don't, they have to come out and see, right? Because they're going to do the work. So this really, I like this in-depth flooring options, environment and foundation. Let's talk about the environment piece with this too.
That is the number one problem that I see in our industry. Everybody is different. Whether you live in New Mexico or if you live in Michigan, the same products that might work in New Mexico doesn't really perform as well maybe in a Michigan. And I could use a bamboo or anything that you can think of. They all have their different characteristics, and you should understand the problem that I've seen at my 5 stores was a lot of times my salesmen let the customer guide them instead of them reversing it and guiding the customer and saying, that's really not the right product for your application with your children or your pets or whatever it might be.
Well, I'm sure from that, you realize the reason they couldn't do it is because they didn't have, look, they can't learn everything in this book, but you can use it, as that one woman said, you can use this as your reference guide, and it's got pictures in it. And, I am sure that you're available on a phone call if I get stuck here, and I can talk with you about that. Now, tell me how much this book is again, Mark, so I can put this in our chat.
This is ridiculous. For $50, you receive the manual and 14 training videos. If you look at that $50 is a one sale. If you make one correct sale, you have saved more than $50 by using, let's just use the trim page. When you go out on a profile of a trim, every time you send the wrong trim, you just cost your company more than $50, because I have a page there. And if you don't know what trim is the proper trim, then use the page that I have in my catalog.
Yeah, I'm looking. Okay, the transitions. That's what you're talking about.
Transition page.
That's like page 44, 45.
Yes.
And that.
If you could hold that up, Elizabeth.
I'm sorry?
Yes, that page right there, I made my measurement, Carrie. I actually said to my measurement, I do not ever want to have the wrong profile. If you're not sure, look at this page. It has pictures. It shows you the right profile for that area.
Listen, I can't believe this. I'm beginning to sound like the guy with the pillows. But the thing is, for $50, I mean, you got, I don't know how many pages in here.
134 pages.
Right. So you're talking a couple cents a page, for heaven's sakes, and you've got all this material. And I know that you're going to update it. And all of us, a lot of your industry experts like myself are adding to it. And you get training videos to go with it. I mean, so that you can, for each chapter, there's a training video. And if I need you, I'm going to get 15 to 20 minutes of your time if I buy this book, right?
Correct. As an ex-manufacturer's rep, I used to get ready, and I would come to your store at 7 a.m. to do a presentation, and I'd see the salespeople tapping each other for a piece of paper. This manual right here, they should put all their notes. I made it specifically a spiral notebook, so you could go to your printer and add blank pages.
Terrific.
In there, I would have my manufacturer's phone numbers, my contacts, my shipping people. I would have, if you quoted me a price and I was on the laminate section, I wrote it down in my book. Then maybe I went back after I was on the floor with you as a sales rep. Maybe I went back to my computer and typed it in later. But a lot of times, a lot of deals are done on the golf course, at lunch, and I would make notes in my book. I carried it to Vegas every year because when I sat with people, I had blank pages in my book, and I made as many notes in the right section so I didn't have to search when I get home, because carrying the computer around for me just didn't work. I still like using a pencil and paper.
I'm one of those too, so I like that too. So what I'd like you to do, I'd like you to go through and give us again what's in here. Remember, this is Mark Farnsworth, and this is, he's got 100 and what do you got? 135 or was that right? 125 yes. pages. In here, you're going to get this book for $50. And in addition to that, you're going to get the training videos that go with it for every chapter. And You can have a conversation with Mark about what's going on. And Mark said you can have a conversation with me too if you want. He's putting me in the mix, which is pretty exciting for me. But we're all out there to help you. So again, give us again. You tell us what's in the book.
Okay.
Yeah, you give us.
Here's what I did.
Okay.
When I hired a brand new salesperson, I gave them this book. And I said, the flooring industry seems to be very difficult, but I want to make it very basic for you so that you understand the basics of the floor covering business. You get a little background of the products you'll be selling. But every Friday, when we would run a Friday morning sale, I would ask the group, tell me something about SPC. Tell me something about selling face weights on carpet. Tell me the difference between a Canadian cushion and an American cushion. The reason is, maybe you don't sell Canadian cushion, but I never, ever did not want somebody to be smarter than my staff, because people do move here and they do ask for these different situations. A lot of times you will be asked about face weights and what that really means. If you don't know, read the book. It tells you very basic what we're talking about.
Interesting, people might say, oh, this is much too much for me. I'm not going to need all this. And what I used to say is that, how much information does a salesperson have to have? They have to know everything. How much does the customer need? Only enough for them to make a good decision. But you never know what they're going to ask you, right? That's why you did all this.
That's exactly why I did all this, because of the fact I was tired of being the gentleman that would watch my salespeople say to them, I really don't know, or give a really bad answer to that customer. And I would have manufacturers and distributor reps give me bad answers. And I would say to them, have you personally ever been to a manufacturer's facility? And a lot of them would respond, no, I haven't. Even store owners, no, I have not. Well, this gives you the basics of how a product is made, the differences between a nylon and a polyester, the differences between so many different, the carpet tile business is booming right now. There's so many things that you have to be educated on to get abroad of everything that we do in this industry.
Yeah, luxury vinyl is hot. You've got a lot of information on vinyl and how to lay that out. And, the other thing I'm thinking, again, is that, and this has nothing to do with saying that there's anything wrong with manufacturers' rep. They know their products, and as they should. The problem is for the person in the store is sometimes they don't learn anything else. So they can't help the customer compare when they need to, because that's part of being a good salesperson, is knowing all your products, knowing the differences, and as you said, knowing what product is best for a certain situation. And if you just joined us out there, I want you to know this is Lisbeth Calandrino from Women of the Flooring Business, and I am speaking with Mark Farnsworth, who is a speaker and an author, and his recent book is Your Complete Flooring Guide right here. And just so you know, it comes with videos for every chapter, which I think is absolutely amazing. I know how hard it is to do videos. You've got the videos in there, and you get 25 or 30 minutes. I just made it a little bit longer. You can get to talk to Mark about that, as well as you can get the books. Now, the cost of the book, again, I can't really believe, Mark. I know how much work. I did something very similar 30 years ago. Took months to do it, right?
Yes.
It took months to do it. It's like you have to collect a lot of information and you have to know your stuff. And the fact that you were in the retail business, Mark, is a huge, it's huge that you were, because again, it tells the person that wants to buy this book that you know their business. I mean, I hate people who say they tell you everything, but they've never been in the retail business. Retail business is tough, right?
Yeah. Yes. And it took me 3 years to develop and correct and develop and correct that book. And that book is not biased. There's no manufacturers that I recommend because all the manufacturers are the best at what they do. You just have to determine what works for you, and you have to determine when that consumer comes through the door, are you the expert telling them exactly the truth and not the internet?
You know, this book should be right on the desk. This would be a great book if you're, in this business, have it on your desk. And even if a customer says, I'm wondering about something, you can say, well, you know what? I have my Bible. It's sitting right here. And let me go in here and find what you're looking for. And they could say, things change every day, like lots of other industries. So we have this book. Not only that, but we have Mark is our consultant, right? So you can call Mark on the phone and Mark can tell you whatever else you need to know, or you can call him, you can go see him, you can have him come into your store. In any event, Mark has the answers. And you know what I like about you, Mark, is you're forever learning.
Oh,
you're always out there learning the new ways.
Yes. And I do. I read cover to cover just about every magazine, because when we have discussions, we talk about things that happened yesterday in our industry. You have to stay up. You have to learn every single day to stay ahead of everyone in life.
And the other thing is, like you said, you have to consult other people in the industry, right?
Yes.
You're always going to workshops. You're always talking with people. You've really kind of upped my game a little bit. You're out there bringing in people that I never heard of that have some interesting things to offer us. So, I mean, this is terrific. Again, everybody, this is Mark Farnsworth, and his book is Your Complete Flooring Guide. You can reach Mark at 330-704-6497. That is in Ohio, so that's Eastern time zone. The cost of the book is $50. Frankly, I think everybody in your business should have one. Now, not only salespeople, Mark, but what about warehouse people?
I personally think every installer should have one, because installers come back and they should know the content of that product, of what blade they should be using to cut it. I've went out on waterproof flooring jobs and looked at the blades are so dull, and they're trying to cut an SPC with ceramic in it. And I go, you have to understand the product. I think personally, every single person that ever worked for me would have had one of these books in their hands. And I would have asked them, don't tell me you don't know how to figure ceramic tile. You can't tell me you don't know how to figure a 24 by 24 or 13 by 13. It tells me you didn't take interest in your job to learn, because it's in the book.
Well, we need business owners. Again, if you're a business owner out there, part of what you need to do, a big part, is training. We have an industry that is pretty techy. And so to keep your salespeople up on what's out there, you can't rely on manufacturers' reps for all this stuff, because some of your products you don't use that often, right? And so maybe you don't even have a rep that comes in and talks about cork. But that doesn't mean that you don't have customers that are interested in that, right, Mark?
That is exactly correct. And when a customer talks about a certain product, if you know it's not going to work, you need to tell that customer why it's not going to work. They don't want to hear, oh, bamboo doesn't work in Ohio. Why doesn't it work in Ohio? What is the problem here? Things like that.
Okay, so we need to wrap it up. Again, Lisbeth Calandrino, Women of the Flooring Business. And Mark, just tell them one more time your book, where to find it, your phone number, and how much.
please contact me directly at 330-704-6497. I don't care if you purchased my book a year ago. If you have a question, call me. I'd rather be your personal trainer than I would you just ignore it and say, well, I'm not really sure. My website is an educational website. It is www.floorcoveringbasics.com. I try to make it basics. I'm trying to start. I have one of my best sales girls was a jewelry sales rep, but once I gave her the basics, she had confidence to sell anything.
And that's really important because these days, everybody's talking about, how many people are there out there, who can you hire? And so I really need to talk to someone that I coach, and I think you should get this for his salesperson. She's new, but she's interested in learning, and this would be good for her. Mark, thank you so much for your time, and we'll be in touch.
Okay, I really appreciate it. Thank you. Talk to you soon.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.